What do you feel about this?
Your question, since it was regarding investments, I think I'll just put it in this fashion that if you look at the largest food brands which exist today, probably more than 80% of them come out of the US. And when I was starting off Jumbo King, so we are reading a lot about why is it that Domino's does become so big with pizzas, and how Subways make sandwiches, such a big deal out of sandwiches, how burgers become so big, and why is Indian food somehow, we have these large brands trying to do everything, and so they are doing extremely well, but when it comes to trying to scale up, the challenges are there. So we of course learned from McDonald's, and Jumbo King was one product which everyone said was no, it does not work in India. In India, people want to eat different things, so you have to have something for everyone. Okay. So just challenging those norms, I think in the food industry, the sooner, now there are a lot of concepts with people really focusing on a particular part of the consumer need which is being fulfilled. Yes. And the more that happens, the more successful the brand and the concept becomes, and money will just come in. I guess people complain money is not coming in. What they need to realize is the concept is not working.
Sure.
Because if the concept is working, people will be chasing you.
Sure.
Like the first investment when I got, the guy came and he said that I want to put in money. I said, but I don't need your money. Okay. He said, no problem. When you need money, please let us know.
Okay.
And so when we took money from him, it happened in one single meeting, and after which he said, thank you very much. You let me come into your company. So that is I think the power of the concept is extremely important in the food business. And funding, I think there is this phenomenal opportunity called franchising. Okay, where you don't need an angel fund, you don't need a VC, you don't need a private equity guy. Franchising works beautifully where you have a concept which is working at a modular unit, and you put it across to see, you multiply it, so proof of scale gets established, and then you have lots of individuals who want to get into the food business. And I think it's a fabulous way to fund the expansion. Of course, franchising has to be done for the right reasons. It should not be because you want that guy's money. Absolutely. It's because you have a concept, which is working and which will work across locations.
So what you're saying is there's a lot of money out there, but look at the quality of money, or in return for the money which you're getting, look at what you're giving, is what you're saying. You should consider that.
So we have more than 200 franchise inquiries a month.
Sure.
And we are processing them based on our reach, where we can give the product so that the franchisee makes money. As long as that concentration is there, I think funding is should not be that big a challenge.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Pradeep, what's your view?
Being from a family which was before into the trade, into this restaurant business, what we have seen that definitely there is great potential in investment nowadays. What used to be a couple of years ago, nobody would talk. The community would look into one another, into the community to look up, to raise funds for a particular expansion. But now there are investments coming from all quarters. Your friends will ask, you will have some visitor wanting to invest. So there is definitely this boom which everybody has echoed, that worldwide the consumption, all those issues. But the market is a big jungle out there, and I think only the fittest will survive. So that's one word of caution for us.
On that point, I'll add something.
Sure.
So I think it's very glamorous from the outside.
Because
it's a bloody tough industry. Absolutely. I've been in it and started. I've done everything. So I've dishwashed. I've kind of worked up the ladder. So there's no job in my restaurant, any restaurant that I haven't done, whether it's virtually off the kitchen floor to cook and serve. But it's a very tough industry. It's a very tough business. It's a jungle in the sense it's highly competitive, and it's getting more and more intense.
Sure.
So if you look at any trade area that you operate in, I'm sure at one stage this was probably the only hotel restaurant in this area. Now there must be within a 1 or 2 km radius, there must be 15, 20 competitors. So, if you see it...
This area is nothing compared to Andheri East.
No. Okay. But I cannot remember, this has been here for a while. This was probably the only one. So I'm saying in any, whether it's in hospitality. So it is, and I do really think there's going to be over the next few years. I think what will happen is there will be a shakeout. So some people will not make it. I think smaller guy, there will be some consolidation.
Sure.
But I think once you get through that, and if you have, people have a good also, you're giving customer value and you're giving a shareholder value. I I think you're sitting on the other great upside is that you're sitting on, if you look at any comparison, and as an association we do this, so you compare the restaurants industry to China, you compare it to Hong Kong, you compare it to Singapore, and you just extrapolate a part of those and what can happen. Or, any good restaurateur with a good concept is sitting on a potential, great growth, great revenue, great building brand opportunity. I think that there's tremendous. So it's I think a lot of people just get into it for the glamour quotient. And some of them are doing well. I know some who actually got into the glamour and actually are creating it and doing well. But I see enough who come and go. I've seen enough restaurants over the years just come and go. Great concepts, but they don't survive.
But it's easier to get finance today, unfortunately, than it is to get a good location and a good rental.
And a P&L which works.
That is one of the biggest banes of the industry, and we'll definitely come to that. But on the investment section, any of you would like to add anything? It seems overall we are all very bullish about it, but approach with caution. There's so many people who, fly-by-night operators have come across giving presentations to investors and demanding money, and when they finally execute their first or second outlet, rollout, it's just not what they promised, and then they are, on the line. Their necks are on the line. So
No, I think so that was probably a good topic to speak in for the investors conference. In the restaurateurs conference, I think.
Okay, we'll continue staying bullish on that. That's a good one.
No, but I think everybody that goes we're all restaurateurs here. So I think everybody's gone through that phase where naturally they, nobody's going to put money behind you unless you have proof of concept.
Right? To add the point on the investment side, what happens is when you're raising funds from a private equity person, so the fancier your projections are, the higher valuations you can come out.
Sure.
So what happens is if you can show 100% year-on-year growth over the next 3 years, your valuations are higher than if you show 50% year-on-year growth for the next 3 years.
Yes.
So, as you make commitments, but then living up to that is a challenge. So I think investors are understanding all of those things, and one or two failures will get the whole act going.
Absolutely.
Actually, even for that matter, my experience has been that investors have now learned that fine art of looking at the specialization, because in food business it is not necessarily they go with what happens in IT or what happens in pharma or real estate, that multiplier factor of 7x or 10x or 3 years projection. It is very important that they understand that I am not in food business, what I have is money. He's in food business, he understands. So let's give them a support system and an ecosystem in that manner, wherein money is a part of it, which they bring in, and 90% of the job is being done by guys like us. So I guess even the investor community is trying to understand that maybe they'll take a little time. I'm sure what you have experienced 3-4 years ago, the guys now who are talking a little different language, and it's time for all of us, when we meet in the community, we must tell them that even you should look at it like that. Because end of the day, you're going to just park money in my account. The rest of the things, I'm going to make use of it. So,
but that's something that you have to learn and you have to negotiate when you get in. So
absolutely.
He's got funding.
That's what I'm saying. As a community, we must take this lead to put this in
who puts
place.
in money, whether it's Angel, VC or a franchisee, they all come with their own expectations, terms, conditions.
Sure.
So I think there's wisening up and there's learning. So you learn and what to agree, what not to agree, and keep whatever independence.
Only problem is you get up in the morning and you read with what happened with Facebook, etc. And in the food industry, you feel like fools. We are going to take forever to create those kind of valuations. So investors have choices, where they can park their money.
Sure. There's another trend that's happening. This trend, of course, can also be discussed as a challenge. That's the supply chain, and we'll discuss it as a challenge as well. But from a positive point of view, some of the good things that are happening in supply chain, when I look at big companies like Vista, processed foods, or you look at Trikaya in terms of agriculture, or you look at Radhakrishna Foodland, the efforts that they've tried to make in terms of warehousing and distribution, that seems to be some kind of a positive thing. So do you see this as a trend, or do you see that these kind of things as a trend, or is it really impactful, or should we look at it more as a supply chain and all of that more as a challenge?
I personally think it's still one of the biggest challenges in the business.
Okay.
I think what's happened is a drop in the market.
Okay.
So I did think what happened initially was when all the US-based chains came in the mid-90s and the first 5-6 years. They brought in guys with them.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of the chains like McDonald's and Domino's actually brought in. You know, McCain came into India because of McDonald's. You know, and so I think that was good. And now McCain supplies everyone. Sure. You know, not only supply McDonald's, they supply all of us. So I think that was good initially, and there were a few guys come in. But yeah, I think it's the the cold chain. I mean, I think it's a bit of a joke that a country of this size, the thing that we have, you can count not even on one hand.
Okay.
Reliable cold chain operators in this country who can not even on one hand. Okay, he's saying none. I think maybe you can count a few guys. We're talking about big. So I think there's unfortunately a huge gap here in terms of warehousing, cold chain. It's actually one of the things which is holding this industry back.
Okay.
It's actually something which is a big challenge.
It's one of the top things
One of the
on
biggest
our
challenges.
list as a challenge. But I just wanted to provoke this thought to see if you'll really see this as something positive. But like you said, the positive part is not impacting.
It's not adequate today. It's impacting I think the positive part is then it's helped the big guys.
Okay, so it's
right? It's a question of whether it helps the smaller and the mid-sized
Maybe
restaurants.
once they have oversupply, then they start coming to the
looking into the rest of us.
next level.
So we'll still view this as a challenge, and we'll speak under the
That's
challenge
my
thing.
opinion, yeah.
No, I mean I can see from the nods around generally that seems to be the consensus. So there's one more trend which has been happening, and then we'll go on to what the trends that you all feel are there. Anything else that you all would like to suggest, particularly in terms of. Harpal also mentioned this just now. It's basically, in a sense, customer experience management, which a lot of people are trying to control, however small your format is. Any touch point with the consumer, you're trying to manage your customer experience. And nowadays, I've come across some companies which are specializing in customer experience management to the extent that one guy actually told me that mystery dining is going to become defunct, and he's actually studied some course which studies body language and all of that, with body language of customers and things like that. I don't know how far that's really going to go, but what do you all feel about customer experience management? It's important it's a focus area, in terms of a trend in this sector today, in terms of our level of maturity of the market today.
Probably customer service, as in, our experience has been that, I sometimes draw a comparison with, with a derby race where the horses are running. So, the horse that comes first does not have to beat the second one by a mile. It's a nose's length usually, which decides the winner.
Okay.
So, customer service, as in, we take it as a relative term. If you know your customer well, that what is the option that he has, if he does not eat with you, what are the other 2 or 3 options which he is going to use to consume his food. And if over there you are incrementally becoming better and the best option at that price point, and keep on improving from there, so the graph actually moves in the fashion in which you want to. While if you suddenly decide, like we decide to compare ourselves with the cleanliness that a 5-star hotel offers, then we are not going to be able to sleep in the night because we'll feel we are doing a very bad job. So that customer expectation, because people who come and tell us this is brilliant, please maintain this.
Okay.
And as in a customer who comes into a Jumbo King store, while if the same guy has just walked in from a McDonald's store, he'll say, boss, I think you all can do a lot. Okay. So what we have to realize is that guy is going to come probably once in a year, but the guy who's coming to us once a week, okay, he is extremely happy because he says, of my options, if I want to spend only $20, you are my guy. So, don't increase cost. We don't want, the service is good, just maintain it. Okay. So, it's very relative.
Yeah, I think I agree. But I think also what's the trend, and I see more is customers are becoming more and more demanding.
Absolutely.
At every segment.
Yes.
So their expectation for $20 has gone up.
True.
Okay. The expectation for what they spend when it's $80 has gone up because they have more choice in every segment.
Sure.
So therefore, and it's also, I think, just exposure. So, how many cooking shows are there? How many restaurants? These are international channels.
Absolutely.
Indian channels also have it. But there are so many cooking shows about restaurants abroad, which you're, seeing. So I think there's a whole exposure, even if you haven't been out of the country, you're exposed to great stuff just by TV, internet. And I think people are traveling more domestically, internationally. So I think therefore just that. So that's something which I think is a very important part of the business. I think eventually there was, I was at Yum Restaurants. There was an internationally a study done 7-8 years ago. That 3 reasons people visit restaurants and repeat restaurants is experience, the food, and